On this episode of Sports for Beginners, it's hockey night in Pittsburgh. Welcome to episode 26 of season number 4 of Sports for Beginners. It's hockey night in Pittsburgh. Penguins, Capitals, our featured presentation on season 4 of episode 26 of the Sports for Beginners podcast. Settle in and enjoy. Welcome to Sports for Beginners. This is the show where I cover the Pittsburgh Penguins, Toronto Blue Jays, and take you on a journey through the world of sports. From the fans' perspective, here is your host, Scott McGregor. Let's have some fun. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be tuning in at this time of night or day. It is Thursday, November 6th, 2025 of season 4 of Sports for Beginners, a Penguins postgame show here on Sports for Beginners, the podcast. This is episode 26 of season 4. On this show, we will be running this the same way we do every Penguins postgame show, including our player of the game show segment that we have on the show, which is called the Shake of the Game. We will do the Shake of the Game later on, and we will also take a look at our out-of-town scoreboard that is coming up momentarily. That will be for today and, of course, Friday, which is tomorrow at the time of our recording. But first things first, before we can get to the player of the game segment we call the Shake of the Game, and, of course, our game puck of the game, which I forgot to mention, we got to get to the 3 stars of this game, and we can't do that without meeting our starting netminders, and, of course, our head coaches. It's the 99th time, if you include the playoffs and the regular season, that Sidney Crosby and the great 8, Alexander Ovechkin, will meet this season in their 20th season, rather. But that is besides the point. Let's get to our coaches and our goaltenders, which will also do our linesmen as well. I'm not going to worry too much about the time of each game starting, but I will say that the scheduled time of start was 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 5:30 p.m. Mountain, 1:30 p.m. France time, 1:30 a.m., France time, and 30 minutes after midnight in the UK. Tonight's officials wearing the number 39, the referees were Brandon Balendina and number 26, Jake B. We're going to go with Jake B just in case I pronounce anyone's, and I'll go with Brandon B just in case I pronounced your last name wrong. The linesman or linesperson wearing the numbers 83 and 55, Matt McPherson and Kyle Flemington. Matt McPherson was one of the linesmen. One of the linesmen. I want to make sure I'm saying lines instead of lions. I'm trying to say linesmen. And of course, lines person. There we go. Okay, it kind of cut up with lion in there. I meant to say lines person. And of course, linesmen. 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 Okay, you know what? Never mind. Anyways, those were Matt McPherson, and of course, Kyle Flemington, Jake B, and Brandon B, the officials refereeing the game. Tonight's starting goaltenders, with the absence of Tristan Jarry being on IR, Penguins will return the starting goaltending job to Artur Shilovs, who would get the start. He would go against Capitals goaltender Charlie Lindgren. This is because Logan Thompson started the other game the Capitals played last night as they came into this game on a back-to-back, which they defeated the St. Louis Blues 6-1 at the time of the game. The Capitals' record was 7-5-1 at the time of tonight's game, that is. The Penguins entered tonight's game with a record of 8-4-2. They are head coached by Dan Muse. Spencer Carberry is the head coach of the Washington Capitals. I mentioned the backup for the Capitals was Logan Thompson. So you have 79 and 48 on the Capitals side. On the Penguins side, you have 37 getting the start, and backing up, he was recalled among many people that were recalled because of the injury to Tristan Jarry, and of course there were some other injuries as well. Justin Brazeau is also out of the lineup. Number 1, Sergei Marashov is in the lineup. He would do the backup for today's game, 8 minutes after those times at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 5:30 p.m. Mountain, 30 minutes after midnight in the UK, and 1:30 a.m. in France. Well, here we go. It was quite a show that Sid and Ovi put on in the 99th chance that they would play. Oh, by the way, congratulations before we get into the game to Alexander Ovechkin, reaching the milestone of 900 career NHL goals. And even though he wasn't playing last night, but he did play Tuesday night. A shout out to John Tavares, Mississauga native, playing right now for the hometown Toronto Maple Leafs, eclipsed the 500 goal mark in the NHL career and is one of many to have done that. He also scored a goal in last night's 5-3 win over the Utah Mammoth. So he now has 501 goals in his NHL career, with one in the 5-3 win over the Utah Mammoth. And by the way, the Penguins did play Toronto on Monday night. All right, to our game of context. We're going to start with the penalties because that's where goals began. And we're going to go by team. So in the early frame, the penalties went to Connor McMichael for hooking at a minute 5 seconds in. On the Capital side, they also had a penalty charge later to Sonny Milano for hooking 10 minutes and 33 seconds into the game. At this point in time of a penalty, it was already 1-0 Penguins. We'll talk about the goals momentarily. The next penalty that took place in the period for Washington went to Trevor Van Riemsdyk, one of 2 penalties he would take. The first penalty was for interference at 16 minutes and 7 seconds. In the first period, the penalties for Pittsburgh went to Blake Lizotte for slashing at 13 minutes and 54 seconds. At the time of the penalty, the Penguins had already taken a 2-0 advantage. How did they get that 2-0 advantage? Well, we talked about the Capitals going to the penalty box early. Connor McMichael was the first one to go to the box, and that was for hooking. Sidney Crosby puts in a goal on the power play, his first of 2 power play goals he would score. That's goal number 10 on the year for Crosby. Ben Kindle on the assist, his first of the year on the first period goal. Brian Rust, 8 assists of the season for Brian Rust. Time of the goal, 2 minutes 20. Then after the penalty to Sonny Milano, Crosby strikes again. This time, the assists belong to Erik Karlsson, his 11th of the season. That's EK, and Brian Rust, who would get the primary assist, his second assist of the night, 9th of the year. Penguins up 2-0 after 20 minutes of play. Shots on goal for the period, 16-7 Pittsburgh. The Penguins are out of the gate clicking on all cylinders on the power play. They are 2 for 2. They would be outshot by the Capitals 16-7 in the second period of play, but come up big with a goal followed by 3 more, which would be scored by the Capitals. One of those goals was recounted to make it 3-2 Pens, and that was because of a coach's challenge by the Penguins. But first, let's go to the second period penalties. On the Penguins side, no penalties taken for the Penguins in this period. One penalty taken in the period that belongs to Trevor Van Riemsdyk going to the box for high sticking this time. Time of the penalty, 2 minutes, 23 seconds. That is the penalty there for Trevor Van Riemsdyk. The only penalty taken in the period, 2 penalties by the Penguins, 1 penalty by the Caps in the third period, but we'll get there in moments. Let's go now to our second period scoring, and we lead off with a goal from Anthony Mantha, his 7th goal of the year, 7th goal as a Penguin. That put the Penguins up. At the time, they were already leading 2-0, excuse me. That put them up 3-0. Tommy Novak on the primary assist, his 5th of the year. Blake Lizotte, his 1st of the year. He had the additional assist. 2 minutes and 5 seconds was the time of the goal. Then here come the Capitals. First, the captain of the Capitals, Alex Ovechkin, finds Dylan Strome for Dylan Strome's first goal of the game and only goal of the game. He would only have 1 goal in this hockey game. That is his 4th goal of the year. Alex Ovechkin, fresh off of scoring goal career number 909, I should say number 900 of his career, picks up assist number 6 on the season. Caps on the board at 9 minutes, 41 seconds. Ryan Leonard looks to keep things going. John Carlson, meanwhile, does receive his 7th assist of the season. Hendrix Lapierre remains at 2 assists this season for now, but we'll get to when Carlson got his 7th assist of the season, and we're coming up to that. Anyways, Dan Muse decided to use a coach's challenge for offside, and it worked. So no goal for for Ryan Leonard. No assist for John Carlson here, and no assist for Hendrix Lapierre here as well. The call on the ice, on the field. That's football or even baseball. Scott, focus. Anyways, I apologize for the shortness there. But anyways, it was deemed no goal because of offside, so the Penguins challenge works. It's still 3-1 Penguins after the goal by Dylan Strome, which was his 4th goal of the year at 9 minutes and 41 seconds. A goal that would count a couple minutes later at 14 minutes and 53 seconds came off the stick of Rasmus Sandin, his 1st of the year. Dylan Strome picking up his 9th assist of the season. Alex Ovechkin, his 2nd assist of the night, 7th of the season. Now it's 3-2 Penguins over the Caps after it was 2-0 Penguins after 20 minutes of play. It would not stay that way. Sandin and Dylan Strome with goals, and Washington's within 1. They would get even as Tom Wilson bangs home his 9th goal of the year. Dylan Strome with his 10th assist of the season, 2nd of the night, as he had an assist on the Sandin goal. And again, nobody for Washington scored in the 1st period. Scoring for Washington happens here in the 2nd period of play. So that is his 2nd assist of the night, 10th of the year for Dylan Strome. John Carlson, we talked about him getting his 7th assist of the season. This is when he does get it, and it's late in the 2nd period, which takes us from 40 minutes of 2-0 hockey for the Penguins to 3-3 after 40 minutes. It's tied 3-3 after 40 minutes of play. 19 minutes and 55 seconds was the time of the goal. And the Penguins, as I mentioned, the Penguins were outshot 16-7, but the shots on goal through 2 periods would be even at 23 apiece. So a little different news here, as the Penguins are tied in the shot total at the end of 40 minutes of play at 23 apiece. Score after 40 minutes, 3-3. Penguins and Caps tied at 3. On to regulation we go. And before we go to regulation, we will take a quick break. When we come back, regulation period, 3 stars, plus the play of the game. Stay where you are, because episode 26 of season number 4 of Sports for Beginners, a Penguins postgame edition, continues in just a moment. Pens and the Caps continue in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. There's more great conversations and content right around the corner. Sports for Beginners will be right back in a moment.
CNT Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down. Nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on CNT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on CNT Radio.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, two powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
Now, let's take you back to the action. To the rink and field we go. We find Scott McGregor.
Welcome back to Sports for Beginners, episode 26 of season 4. We're talking Penguins and Capitals on this episode, as it's a highlight of Penguins postgame, and our presentation of that continues here on Sports for Beginners. You also will be able to see this episode air on the ice and behind the benches, along with as many other programs as you can get. Moving on, when we last left in our program, the score was 3-3. Penguins 3, 3, and Caps is short for the Capitals. The Capitals did not score a goal in the third period of play. 2 goals were scored by the Penguins. We'll get to those goals in just a moment. But here is the penalty summary, starting with the Penguins here in the third period. Going off of what I have here, 2-minute minor for interference was the call for Connor Clifton at 4 minutes and 43 seconds. That was our call. Interference on Connor Clifton. Ben Kindle later would go to the box for delay of game, for delaying the game, puck over the glass. That came 4 minutes and 39 seconds later at 8 minutes and 39 seconds. Capitals going to the box early. The only Capital to go to the box would be Dylan Strome. He goes to the box for cross-checking at 9 minutes and 24 seconds, which would lead us to our goals in the third. Penguins already have 2 goals already. They were 2 for 2, but some of the play by the Capitals, despite the Capitals coming off a game last night in St. Louis, which they won 6-1, let's just say they were starting to find their legs. Here in the third period, however, the Penguins do get their third and final power play goal of the game. That belongs to Brian Rust, his fifth goal of the year, and chalk it up for another assist for Evgeny Malkin, his 17th assist of the season already. Ben Kindle picking up assist number 2 on the season, and a couple of interesting firsts for Ben Kindle. In this game, he gets his first career NHL assist and follows it up later with his second career NHL assist. And the Penguins were tied at this moment, but after the goal by Brian Rust, the Penguins are on top 4-3 on their third PPG for PGH of the season of the game. I was going to say season, but I quickly wanted to correct myself and say of the game. Connor Duard also picked up a goal. This would be an empty netter, which would give the Penguins a 2-goal cushion and give them the 5-3 win over the Washington Capitals. It would be Connor Duard's fourth goal of the season. It's an empty net goal. The only assist coming off the stick of number 58, Christopher Letang, who has also scored himself a milestone recently, 600 career assists. He had done that recently. Not in this game, obviously, but that's okay. Tonight, he receives assist number 6 of the season, goals coming at 11 minutes and 16 seconds, and of course, 17 minutes and 56 seconds. The goal at 11 minutes and 16 seconds was on the power play. After the game ended, well, isn't this a surprise? Not really. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the Washington Capitals tie in the shots on goal. After 3 periods of play, they both had 8 shots on goal. For the game, after 3 periods of play, and after the game, they would finish with 31 shots on goal each. Let's go to some other stats from this game. I haven't shared my screen once, but that's okay. We'll probably do that in just a little bit. We'll see. In the face-off circle, this game saw 60 face-offs, and both teams winning 50% of the face-offs, both teams winning 30 out of 60 face-offs in this game today. While the Penguins' power play was 3 for 5, so was the penalty kill of the Washington Capitals. The Capitals killing off 3 penalties, the Penguins scoring 3 times. However, the Capitals go 0 for 3 on the power play, which leads to a Penguins 3 for 3 penalty kill. The PK was actually 2 for 5 for the Washington Capitals. They were not 3 for 5. They were actually 2 for 5, but for 3. And even though NHL.com said it was at least 50-50, it was actually 48% and 52%, according to the Penguins stat line here. It was 60 face-offs, 31 by each team. Of course, the goals, Dylan Strome, Rasmus Sandin, Tom Wilson, Crosby with 2, Anthony Matha with 1, Brian Rust, and Connor Duard with 1 as well. Penalty minutes, 10 minutes in the box for the Capitals, 6 minutes in the box for the Penguins. The Penguins were out hit 20-10. They had 1 more blocked shot than the Capitals did tonight, finishing with 16. 18 giveaways by the Penguins, 5 takeaways. The Capitals finishing with 15 block shots, 17 giveaways, and 6 takeaways. But they out-hit the Penguins 27-10. Shots on goal once again, 31-31, as that would tie up. Okay, everybody, time now before we take another quick timeout in this show to get to our 3 stars of the game. We'll get to the play of the game after the next timeout, and we will also open up with a look at, yes, a look at, you heard me, a look at our out-of-town scoreboard. We'll take a look at that after the play of the game, but before we get there, let's go take a look at our 3 stars of the evening tonight. So here we go with our 3 stars of the game. Your third star went to Washington Capitals forward Dylan Strome. 1 goal, 2 apples, 3 points. I should say 2 assists to be more specific. Your second star went to Penguins captain and forward Sidney Crosby. 2 goals, 2 points, assists. And your first star might have been number 17 tonight in your program in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania tonight, but he is number 1 in your heart, and he is one of the main reasons why Penguin fans in Pittsburgh, if you're listening to this on Friday, hopefully that's when we drop this. If we don't drop this on a Friday for Sports for Beginners, well, you'll probably get it on the ice and behind the benches at a later time. But if you do get this on a Friday, hopefully you do, Brian Rust is your first star of the game, and he scored you in Pittsburgh half off Rusty Shakes, scoring 1 goal, 2 assists, and 3 points in the game. And of course, the Big Mac attack, which happens now in the final 5 minutes of the third period, that goes to Connor Duard for the empty net goal. And in listening to the old 2-9er Phil Borg before I started to come on and do this show, I got to agree with him. But my play of the game to Sidney Crosby's second power play goal, which came at 11 minutes and 32 seconds on the assist by Brian Rust and Eric Carlson. That is good enough for my play of the game. All right, this episode continues in just a moment. Since we did do the play of the game after the 3 stars of the game, we will take a break. When we come back, we'll start to wrap things up here, get you set for Penguins and Devils. And just before we go to break, want to make sure I make good on the promise here. I'm not going to go through all of the games, but I'll go through a little bit more of those games after the break. Already final tonight, the Philadelphia Flyers beat the Nashville Predators 3-1. Of course, you know our final score. Penguins beat the Capitals 5-3. Devils force overtime and beat the Montreal Canadiens 4-3. Another game that went into overtime was the Boston Bruin game. Bruins beat the Senators 3-2 in overtime. Wild try to make things interesting against Carolina, but Carolina hangs on to a 4-3 win in Carolina and Raleigh. The Blues score 3 goals with different people scoring. Justin Falk, Matthew Joseph, and Nick Bukestad as the Sabres fall 3-0 to the St. Louis Blues. And the Anaheim Ducks have beat the Dallas Stars 7-5 tonight. Still ongoing. You'll find out those scores momentarily. And we'll also get you ready for the 4-game slate of games probably already underway or final by the time you hear this show whenever it comes out. That all is coming up next, including our player of the game segment we call the Shake of the Game. That comes your way next on this episode of Sports for Beginners, streaming also as a special episode on the Ice and Behind the Benches at a later time. Our hockey talk continues in just moments. Don't go anywhere. There's more great conversations and content right around the corner. Sports for Beginners will be right back in a moment.
I wonder if I could make it. It's almost getting to 8 o'clock p.m., and I am still a few more steps away from home to get to my computer to listen to CNT Radio's Cosmopolitan Culture Club. The best of the best music from around the world. Can't wait. I think I made it. CNT Radio, making your day brighter, one song at a time.
Looking for conversations on books and more? as well as tutorials on using your favorite devices and applications, you've come to the right place. Join us weekly on Spicy Techie, where Ali and Sienna provide insightful conversations as well as useful tips and tricks to help you along on your technological journey. To learn more, tune into the show and like the Spicy Techie Facebook page. Search for Spicy Techie.
Now, let's take you back to the action. To the rink and field we go. We find Scott McGregor.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 26 of season number 4 of Sports for Beginners, the podcast. We're recording this the day before Friday, November 7th, 2025. It is Thursday, November 6th, 2025. And our topic of conversation on this episode, it is a special edition of Penguins Postgame, now on its new home of On the Ice and Behind the Benches. But this is a special edition streaming here on Sports for Beginners, and of course, later on the Ice and Behind the Benches play. Get a look at our Friday slate coming up in just a few minutes. But first, time now for our Shake of the Game. Due to time constraints, we are going to go rapid fire with that and our game puck of the game as well. So starting on the Capitals side of things, I really thought, even though I was watching the game from the radio standpoint, I really thought the goals by Rasmus Sandin and, of course, the stopping of Charlie Lindgren were really good. We're going to go ahead and give the game puck of the game to Charlie Lindgren, the goaltender. And we're going to go ahead and give Rasmus Dahlin our shake of the game as one of our players of the game for this Capitals team. For the Pittsburgh Penguins, Artur Shilovs has been really good. Before he gave up any goals in this game, he was on fire. Tonight, on this episode of Penguins of Sports for Beginners, Season 4, it's episode 26. It's a Penguins post-game edition of the show, special edition of the show. I got to give our shake of the game, I'm going to give it to a goal scorer. I got to give our game puck of the game, just like I did for the Capitals, I got to give it to Artur Shilovs. 31 shots faced, 28 saves, 3 goals given up, all at even strength. And he made some really interesting saves, some very interesting saves, I gotta say. I was really impressed with him. The recipient of our shake of the game, well, that's going to go to Penguins goal scorer. He scored twice in this game, and he's the captain of the team. That's going to go to number 87 himself, Sidney Crosby. It's going to go to Crosby. So you've got Crosby and Shilovs as your game puck and shake of the game recipients for the Penguins. You have on the Capital side of things, Rasmus Dahlin as your shake of the game recipient. And your game puck of the game goes to Charlie Lindgren. Charlie didn't exactly have a great night against Artur Shilovs, but he did stop at least 26 of the Pittsburgh Penguins shots. Of course, shot 31 was an empty net goal, and he was not in position to stop that. Okay, so these two squads will do battle again in Pittsburgh at 3 p.m. Eastern on April the 2025. That is, if you can mark your calendar, that is part of a home and home series, and that's actually in 2026 rather. So that will be a Saturday and Sunday game. Both games are in the afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern. One of those games will be taking place in Washington. That is on Sunday, April the 12th, 2026. And April the 11th, 2026 will be in Pittsburgh, which will be our last showdown of the season from PPG Paints Arena. And that will be the second of 3 times the Penguins and the Capitals will meet this season. But the Penguins are victorious tonight, 5-3 at PPG Paints Arena on Pittsburgh night. They'll have another special theme night, or themed day rather, before they head out to Sweden, and that's after a 2 p.m. puck drop against the New Jersey Devils, a team that also won tonight. And as I remember telling you the final score, Devils 4, Canadiens 3. That will be part of a big slate of games on Saturday. Puck drop at 12:30, 11:30. From there, the Penguins, we're not going to worry about the Capitals right now, but from there, the Penguins will battle the Los Angeles Kings at 2 p.m. Eastern on Hall of Fame Day, I believe, is what that is called. I'm not exactly sure what that special occasion is. I got to remember what it is, but I will bring that up to you another time. Then it's off to Stockholm, Sweden. Mark your calendars. November 14th and November 16th. Start times against the Nashville Predators are 2 p.m. Eastern and 9 a.m. Eastern. 10 a.m. Eastern on Sunday in the NHL Global Series, and 2 p.m. Eastern in the Global Series on Friday. Then, of course, the Penguins will be home for 3 games against the Kraken, Wild, and the Sabres. Our next broadcast, which will be Sports for Beginners special, will be following one of these games in the Global Series. That will be either the Penguins' morning game against the Predators, where they will be the home side, or it will be the afternoon game where they are the road side and the Predators are the home side. But as for our next Penguins post-game show on the ice and behind the benches, that comes your way following either the Kings game on Sunday or this Saturday afternoon showdown against the Devils in Newark, New Jersey. Penguins win it 5-3. This is Scott McGregor signing off for our folks checking us out this evening. Oh, I almost forgot before I sign off. The 4-game slate. Well, that will feature the Minnesota Wild taking on the New York Islanders at 7 p.m. Also at 7 p.m., the New York Rangers battle the Detroit Red Wings. Then at 9 p.m., it's the Flames and the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks are in town to take on the Flames from Calgary. And then it's the Shark Tank battle at 10 p.m. Eastern. That's the Jets and the Sharks. Sharks are 5-6-3. Jets 9-4-0. Perhaps with the way games are going today, those records will have changed for those who did play tonight. Sharks did not play tonight, and neither did the Jets, so their record stays where it is. The Islanders did not play tonight. Wild did, so their record will change. Rangers, Red Wings didn't exactly play. They didn't exactly play today, but they will be playing each other by the time you hear this show, or it will have gone final. And Blackhawks, Flames, yeah, those teams weren't in the action tonight, so we will see where things go from there. For everything that I mentioned, that will do it for this special edition of Penguins Postgame here on Sports for Beginners, the podcast. That will do it also for episode 6 of season number 4. It was a special Penguins post-game show edition, and it was the Pens and the Caps. Maybe we'll have a few more down the road, or maybe one more, either from PPG Paints Arena or down at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. Whenever we do it, remains to be seen. That is it for us. Thank you so much for being with us. Click like if you like what you're listening to. Click subscribe if you really like it. Tell all your friends. Please, please, please. We will provide that in our description. And also, as the great Mike Lang would say, I'm going to go ahead and say it, even though Justin Brazeau is injured right now. But, ladies and gentlemen, I'll use the Mike Lang line. Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has just left the building. When Justin Brazeau returns to the Penguins, I will return to my own little spin on it. But for tonight, I'll use the Mike Lang line to highlight Mikey, the Hall of Famer Mike Lang of the Pittsburgh Penguins radio broadcast. So as I said before, ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has just left the building. That is it for us. Thank you so much for being with us, and we will catch you on the flip side. Let's go, Pens! Thank you so much for listening to Sports for Beginners. If you would like to learn more about the show, you can visit the podcast Facebook page or visit the official website. You can also send us an email at sportsforbeginnerspodcast8231@gmail.com. As we always remind you, it is not goodbye, it is until next time.